And now what I'm going to do next is, challenge you to figure out, given an application, whether it is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, or sequential learning, and within these, which of the subtypes it belongs to. So let's begin the challenge. Here are some examples. I'm going to tell you what these examples are. I'm describe the problem, and then I want you to, think along what type of learning are we talking about, whether it's supervised, unsupervised, or sequential, and if possible, also try to think about what is the subtype of each of these learning that we are talking about, right? Okay, so let's start. So the example of spam versus non-spam is something that we have spoken about. You want to classify, given an email, whether it is a spam email or a non-spam email. What type of learning it is? Start thinking about it. I'll tell you the answer after I go through all the examples. The second example is forecasting rainfall. So given data of previous history of rainfalls in a location, we want to predict how much will it rain on a particular day. What type of learning is that? Third is recommending movies. Given a lot of movies, we want to figure out how much, star that a particular movie gets. These are examples that we have already seen, so these three examples should be easy for you. Friend suggestion, right? So friend suggestion is another example. Let's say you are in Instagram or Facebook, and then, or even LinkedIn for that matter, where you might get suggestions for friends, right? So these are people whom the platform or the social media, Instagram or the website thinks that these are people who are potential friends for you, right? So it suggests you and then asks you, do you want to follow them? Do you want to give them a friend request, and so on, right? So what kind of data will it work on, and what type of learning is this? Is this supervised or unsupervised? Think about that. The next one would be voice/instrument separation. Let's say I have an audio, right? So, and the audio has, somebody singing, and at the same time there is some instrument that is playing as well, right? So it's not necessary that somebody sings and then an instrument plays and then somebody sings, right? So it's, think of this as a typical movie song, your favorite song, where there will be some background music that will be going on, and then somebody will also be singing. And now we want to separate the voice from the instrument for whatever reason, right? So maybe I want to understand, I want to only use the voice of the artist who is singing. I don't care about the background instruments, right? So now I want to develop a method that, given an MP3 audio, output two different MP3 audios, one of the voice and one of the background, right? So or the instrument. What type of learning would this be? Grouping pictures in your phone. Some of the phones that you might have, or your parents might have this feature that you can just click pictures, a lot of pictures on your phone of people, and then in your phone gallery or album, the phone might automatically tell you, hey, these are the pictures that you clicked which look like that of the same person. Do you want to give a name to this person, right? So now, how did your phone do this? What type of learning did your phone actually do such that this was possible? Was it supervised? Was it unsupervised? What was it? Last two examples, robot navigation. Let's say you place a robot at one end of a room, and then the robot has to go to the other end of the room, and then there are lots of obstacles, right? So the robot is not told anything about the layout of the room. The robot has to start at one end, and then it has to make certain moves, and some moves might be good, some moves might be bad. It might go bang against a wall, in which case it has to again kind of recoup and do a different move and somehow reach the other end of the room. What type of learning would this be? And final example, stock market prediction. Well, let's say you have stock markets for a long time, and then you want to decide to invest in stock market or not. Every single day you either buy a stock or don't buy a stock at the in the morning of the beginning of the day, at the beginning of the day, and then at the end of the day you are told whether that stock price went up or went down. And now based on that, you kind of want to learn to predict the stock market for a single stock for the moment. To simplified example, you care about, let's say, a single stock, and over time you want to make as much money as possible, which means that you want to predict the stock market properly, so that if you believe the stock market will go up at the end of the day, you will invest in the stock market at the beginning of the day, so that the stock price will go up. Or if you think the stock market will go down at the end of the day, you will refrain from investing in the stock market so that you don't lose money. Now, what type of learning do you think this would be? Again, I've thrown so many examples. I want you to pause and think about what types of learning are these. The live sessions will talk about why the answers to these. I'm also going to give you the answers right now, but I'm not going to describe why each of these examples fall into these categories. That is for you to think about, and if you need clarification, you should talk with the instructors in the live session. So these are the answers. Spam versus non-spam is a binary classification problem. Rainfall is a regression problem. Movies is an ordinal classification. Friend suggestions is what is called as link prediction. We didn't talk much about that earlier, but that's another type of paradigm of learning. And I will let the live session instructors discuss more about that. The voice instrument separation is an unsupervised learning problem. Grouping fixtures is a clustering problem. Robot navigation is what is called as reinforcement learning. In general, sequential learning. Stock market prediction is what is called as online learning, which is also a part of sequential learning, right? So we will talk about sequential learning in much more detail later on. So as long as you figured out that these are sequential learning, the last two, you have understood the idea as well. Okay,